Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's football season, and you know what that means? It means it's time to get in on BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. BetOnline. The game starts here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Gentlemen, another wild week in the Sixers Nation world. Obviously, lots to get into with obviously Embiid searching for his supposed snitch. But before we get to all that, before we get into that, just want to make a comment to all you guys out there. Drop your questions and comments in the comments below. We'll love to kind of get back to getting to do what we were doing in the offseason, answering your questions. If you guys have anything you guys want us to talk about in particular, obviously very puzzling start to this year. So yeah, obviously I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions for Eric and everybody on the set here. But let's talk about this new thing before we get into the topics today. Saw Jake Fisher, NBA insider, reported earlier that one league figure close to Philadelphia's all-star center, Joel Embiid, said that Embiid was, quote, trying to find the Sixers' supposed snitch. What do you guys think about this?
I mean, I think that's why I was saying, if you remember the last show, I was like, all of this is going to happen is the one result is going to be lack of trust. And that's what we're talking about here. So you kind of hopefully find out who this guy is. So you don't make it a locker room lack of trust. You make it a player specific or staff specific lack of trust. I'm not sure he'll find out. I mean, I think the only way he'll find out is if somebody else snitch on the snitcher. But I don't think he needs to spend that much time on it, as far as actually trying to actively find out who did it. Just let it, see if it happens. Just see if it happens. But I'm sure it's disappointing. It's disappointing because you have a situation where the team isn't winning. You have a team meeting. So on top of the team not winning and having their own issues with that, you have a team meeting and the information gets out. But I find it even more interesting. I don't want to say more interesting, but I also find it interesting that the only thing that was leaked was something about Joel. When I'm sure that wasn't the only thing that people talked about. Why only that specific thing got out? So that brings another thing. Whoever snitched the information, but they also snitched with an agenda to say something about Joel. Yes.
They chose that.
Which leads to another question. Why does that person have an issue with him?
He's the most polarizing figure on the team and the best player. It's the best news. It's the best juicy thing. The juiciest. I understand why that would be if you had a list of things to give out, that would be the number one thing. And that's the only Joel related item.
Yeah.
Because if you were let's say you were telling you the reporter.
What I'm saying is, put it like this. I've heard more about that meeting and about him in particular that wasn't said publicly. No, I take that. I changed that. It was said publicly. Just who that person who gave me the information hasn't made it public. But
Okay.
people are saying more. It's just that whomever received the information that I received has not gone in print or gone on national television and said it. But more has been said.
In the meeting.
More about Joel has been said.
Yes.
I don't know in particular if it was in the meeting. I just know that more in that building has said more negative stuff about him.
Where there's smoke, there's fire, like they say.
Yes. And I don't want to say I do know whether if there was a staff or a player. I'm not going to say that because, obviously that kind of you're able to pinpoint who, then figure it out from there.
You're going to get a call from Joel pretty soon and knock on your door.
No, my thing is the reason why I don't want to is because I don't know the person that said it. Like, I don't specifically know the person that said it. I just know whether it was a player or staff. I just know that part, but I don't know who. Because I chose not to, but I also chose not to ask who. I didn't want to know.
Smart. Well, plausible deniability there. I don't know. So if you ever get a knock from, there you go, Joel. Don't come knocking on Eric's door, ask him who it was because he just doesn't know.
I mean, he can come ask. He can come ask me. I just won't have any answers for him, but he can come ask me.
Oh, yeah. Maybe if you told him the criticism, it would help narrow it down. Like he's doing Sherlock work right now.
I could definitely help him with that.
Yeah, he could be like, "Oh, okay." So that narrows it down to three. I only told 3 people that. So there you go. Cross.
So the betting outlets are having fun with this whole thing. Right now, the odds-on favorite. Let me just pull this up real fast. This is from I think Bet Online or no Bovada. So right now the odds-on favorite for the Snitch is Joel Embiid, which doesn't make any sense to me.
Is that real?
Yeah, this is Dunk Central, not Dunk Centel. This is the real one.
That's crazy. How is that even like a legit bet? Like, is someone going to come out and admit that you get your money? I mean, how are you going to get your money on that bet?
So NBA Central is a real thing.
Yeah.
So is it something different when people say that's not real? Is it something that someone?
Well, people have made fake accounts that look like that too.
Okay.
Yeah, there's one called like NBA Centel, CENTEL, so it's misspelled, but all you see is the CEN part, and you think right away that's the same one, but no, it's not.
Can you click on the handle?
Yeah.
What's that?
I wouldn't know. I just see that a lot of people have said, that wasn't real.
That's the real one. Zion's new back that. There you go. Giving us real hard-hitting news here. Zion back that too. Great. That's what we wanted.
Eric, I was watching First Take earlier. Stephen A. Smith said that, just talking about the whole snitch thing, there was a story, I don't know if you remember this story, but back in when there was a Kobe Shaq thing going on, I guess there was something that was reported about Kobe, and Kobe went to the locker room with the newspaper and went to each player, and he said, you say this, MFer, you say this, MFer. He went to each player in the locker room and looked him right in the eye and just kind of called him out for potentially doing that. Do you remember that story?
No, but that doesn't surprise me that Kobe did that.
So we might have Embiid doing that coming up here soon.
Everyone goes to their petty stage of their career.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the thing about it is, if he's calling people out now, then that tells you about your locker room. Not only do you have a snitch, but you have a snitch that's a little soft. They can't say, hey, I'm the one that that's been my whole thing. If you can go out and put somebody in and say something publicly, go tell the dude that said it. That, to me, that'll squash it. Like, yeah, I was the person that did that. I was wrong, or no, I felt it was needed. Go tell them.
Yeah.
Then I think that's how you make it go away. Even though he may disagree and may not like it, I think he'll prefer to be told I'm that guy instead of trying to figure it out and never knowing.
Yeah, which
but it's my belief that it may be one person in particular that kind of said something, but I believe it's multiple people that believe that.
Bleav it. Yeah. More believers, one sayer.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus, I mean, let's be honest, if it is a player, if it's not Maxey, it's someone brand new. So that could be one reason why they don't feel comfortable enough to go up to him and tell him that, because, I would lean toward, if it's a player, someone on the new side, because they don't have that built-up relationship. Right now, Joel's just some guy that they had to guard 6 months ago. And B, you don't have that built-up relationship to be able to tell them, hey, man, I said it that I wanted to get out, or for whatever reason, really. So, but yeah. As far as him investigating the snitch thing,
yeah, I mean,
look for your next W, man.
It's interesting. I mean, he was answering the question, but the thing is, it was like you are. They're asking him that question, and then you never really know. One, the person put it on what Maxey said, and I think here's what I also think. If someone else outside of Maxey and Paul George would have said this particular thing, I don't think it would have been said. So I think it was one thing that it was said to Joel and probably needed to be said from what he said. It was something that he probably needed to hear, even though Joel said it didn't happen as much as they said it did. He did say that.
Yeah.
So somewhere, some fibs going on somewhere in there. I think that them using Maxey kind of made it hit harder.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's a reliable source who's been with them for a long time.
And you also talking about a guy that's, arguably trying to be the leader, the leader, the top guy on the team. So
if this were Game of Thrones, I would say whoever released the information is trying to cause a divide between Maxey and Embiid.
Yeah, I understand why you say that, but I would lean more on them trying to put more blame on the team's lack of success on Joel.
On Joel, yeah. We're not in Game of Thrones. But I get why he's curious. I don't know if you were Joel, would you keep talking about it in the press?
I wouldn't talk anymore. He said what he had to say.
But was that his first saying?
That was his first time addressing it.
That was his first time addressing it. Okay.
And the snitch thing was a Sixers source close to Joel. So another snitch told Jake Fisher about that Embiid is looking for the snitch. So, I mean, whoever that person is might be your snitch there, Joel.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Joel can be really crafty. He can start putting out fake.
Well, I mean, I believe it's a firm point for Joel to make it known he's trying to find out who the snitch is. I don't think he's actively looking, but I think he wanted that point out. I think he wanted them to hear that he was kind of, okay, I'm trying to find out who this person is. I think he wants that in the locker room just as much as whoever told wanted him to be outed in the locker room. So I think he wants to be like, okay, all right, I'm going to find out which one it is.
That's a good point. It's a very Joel thing to do, too.
Yeah.
To want it out there publicly. So, yeah, if that was released, he probably told them, you tell who the hell you want, too, about that.
Yeah.
Crazy times, man. And Paul George on his podcast. I mean, this is giving him content, Paul George, for his podcast to talk about this. I mean, Paul George even said, he goes, I thought it was wild that the next day there was quotes in there from Shams, actual quotes from the team locker room meeting, which I thought was crazy. And then the fact that even these guys, podcast piece making this a subject of his podcast, this is wild.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're not going to win on the court, win off of it.
Can't use that, yeah.
Right. Here's a side question. Now we're talking about PG. Do you think he regrets not staying in LA, accepting that deal they gave him?
No.
Still no?
That extra $50 million a year will solve that.
That'll make you forget about drama and snitches real quick, right?
Yeah.
Payoff. Okay, there you go. That's
year.
Yeah.
He's gonna sleep good.
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. Snitch or not, he's like, hey.
I mean, that extra year, that's what I'm saying. That extra year is more than guys that when I played, like that's more than we made in our whole career.
It's crazy.
So yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing well for himself. All right, we'll come back to the Joel Embiid stuff later on in the episode, but I do want to talk. Teja, you mentioned Paul George, and sticking with a little bit of basketball before we get back to the off the court drama stuff that surrounds and looms over the Sixers locker room, which is just wild. But so obviously we thought this was kind of a must-win game for the Sixers against the Grizzlies. First game after the controversial meeting. It resulted in another brutal loss against the battered Memphis Grizzlies team, and we lost Paul George again for at least a few games with re-injuring the hyperextended, the same left knee that he hyperextended, which they say is going to miss a few games. They're going to be reevaluated on Monday. So I guess the earliest he'd come back would be Wednesday when we play again next week. But what were your kind of takeaways from this game, and what do you make of the re-injury to the knee for Paul George?
Well, that's unfortunate. I mean, if you kind of same knee, right? Same knee, same hyperextension. It's kind of weird. Like I'm not sure I've seen that kind of injury like back to back. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like I don't know. It's bad luck, I guess. But so I don't know. Like I don't believe I've ever had that injury and then kept me out like that. So I don't really know. I don't have experience in how it feels and how long you really supposed to be out. So hopefully he can somehow correct it and maybe wear a knee sleeve or something to kind of prevent it or help prevent it in the future. But, injuries are injuries. It's tough. I know personally that injuries are injuries from a standpoint of not everyone healed the same. Not everyone can play with pain. Some guys can't. So it's no, this happens and this is how long you'll be out, and it's kind of universal. It's like it's on each particular player how they feel and how they respond to it. So I'm not really sure how to take it, man. I don't know. It's making it hard to trust when guys come back that we won't have an issue. I want to Bleav that we won't, but it's making it hard to believe that because we just haven't had it happen.
Yeah, we've had what, like how many on the court minutes have we had with all three guys? Like 8, 9,
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
6 minutes together. $800 million in 6 minutes. Man, that's it's expensive couple minutes here. I think it's just bad luck and unfortunate. It just extends the time that these guys will be able to play together on the court. It'll extend the time that we're not going to be able to see them actually build chemistry for what we are supposed to be, which we talked about it weeks ago. I said, as long as we have enough time for these guys to play together, to know what we need to maybe trade for when most likely KJ Martin's contract comes up to be tradable, then that's fine. But at this point, they're saying a couple weeks. I don't know about that. I think they're going to be even more cautious this time. Since it already happened once, it happened again. And then knowing our luck, by the time he comes back, someone else is going to get injured or sick. And then when he comes back, someone else is going to be gone. It just keeps extending this really bad luck of a season.
I'm not a doctor by any means, but they they did say, I mean, I have to imagine it's not as severe as the last one because apparently he almost checked back into the game after he had the hyperextension.
Yeah, but now he's out all weekend.
Yeah, well, they said at least a few games. What they said, they didn't say a few weeks. They said at least a few games.
I know that, but we know this team, dude. We know this team real well. If there's one thing I bet on is that a couple games will turn into a couple weeks. I'd say he's out. I'd say there's a higher chance of him being out a couple weeks than him coming back early next week. Is what I'd say. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm gonna just go. I think that him having the previous injury,
the same exact one,
will lead him to come back a little sooner. Yes, I would lean towards sooner, and him playing fewer minutes, like we were talking about before. It's like him playing fewer minutes and working his way back up. I would think he'll do that now, since he's already played. I would say he comes back sooner than the previous injury.
How long was he out last time?
3
Was
weeks.
it 2 weeks?
2-3 weeks, yeah.
But they didn't say 2 weeks. They said 2 games, right?
They said he'll be out through the weekend and he'll be reevaluated early next week. I think was.
Yeah, they said few games is what they said. At least a few games. So today,
so few
Sunday
games is what? Wednesday is the third game.
Yeah.
That's a week. Over a week.
Yeah. I'm skeptical. I mean, I have to be a little skeptical at this point. We're not the most honest with injuries, and we're going to be, I think, a little more cautious with injuries.
But does it contextually situation matter? I mean, our record's going through the toilet right now. I mean, wouldn't that also, we don't have the luxury of saying, oh yeah, Paul, you can sit out a few more games. I mean, do you think that plays a factor into it, Eric?
No, I think at the end of the day, our record is not great, but the Eastern Conference in a whole
is not great.
You are still kind of within play, and now you talk about the play-in games. You're still within play, so it's kind of no need to kind of throw it all away because you can still make the playoffs and still, pull a Miami. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
at this point, that's like best case scenario.
That's what I'm saying. So it's still possible. It's just, and I know that you see the statistics of teams starting, this record, but a lot of times the play-in wasn't in.
That's true.
When a lot of those statistics were out there. So we do have enough talent that if for some reason we're healthy enough to play one game to get in, I believe that we can beat anybody in the East.
Yeah.
We know it's not going to be the top teams in that scenario. So I do believe that any other team, we're capable of winning the game. So keep grinding to get back there.
Yes.
Keep grinding to be a top 10 team right now. And if we get on the roll and you get a little higher, keep grinding to be a top, 16. If we can ever get to that point. But I don't believe in the doing anything right now but trying to win and get better. And I think once you kind of get a couple more wins under our belt, the confidence will grow. I do see, in my honest opinion, I do see when things start going south, especially in the second half, we sort of have the mentality. No, I wouldn't say mentality. That's kind of the wrong word. We kind of have the body language of a losing team.
Right now,
as
you mean?
As things go wrong.
Yeah.
We're kind of like, oh, here we go again, man. We can't win. We kind of look like that. And that's really disappointing. So I wouldn't say it's a mentality because I don't want to put that part on players. But I do feel that collectively our kind of body language and looks like that. And it's almost like we start searching for stuff. searching for answers, and then it's almost seems like an avalanche. Opposing team starts rolling, and we just start like, oh well, they're better than us. They're going to win. Like, and that's like, I've seen it before, but I've seen it usually on losing teams. So hopefully that's not us. We can change that. So I've seen losing teams are like that. That's why you see it in this league, especially in the NBA league. And I don't know if college is much like that, but I know in the NBA, you see it all the time where teams that are losing get up early on teams and have leads, and then all of a sudden they start going south, and then all of a sudden the bottom drops out. We can't be that team. We can't be that team. We got too much talent and too much to strive for to be that team. So I would like to see that change.
Last game, though, the Memphis game, that was kind of where I was going to go with it. We showed some fight, and I guess it's me to try and grasp for some silver linings here. We showed some fight at the end of that game,
yes.
where
but that's what I'm saying. I Bleav that fight came from we started competing, and defensively we picked up. We had a personnel in there, and that personnel package allows you to switch and be more aggressive. And then we started making some shots, and then before you know it, you're making a comeback. And Memphis didn't really have their closer per se in the game, so it made it a little. You kind of got a little rhythm. Maybe that's something we can build on. That we can compete like that defensively on, and try to help us get leads on teams. And so the last game we won was what? We beat the Pacers, and who else?
Charlotte.
November 10th. And that Charlotte game could have easily went the other way, along with the Pacers game.
Yeah. Both OT. Both our wins are OT.
Yeah. I know they both OT.
Both our wins are OT.
Yes.
And 10 out of our 12 losses are by double figures. So not only are we getting beat, we're getting beat.
But that's what I'm saying. And I guarantee a lot of those double figure wins, it happened in the second half. That's what
I think we were winning at one point. I have to look that up, but I think we were winning all those games, at least the last 5 at one point.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it happened in the second half when you just like you look like I watched the Orlando game recorded. So I watched the first quarter live. Then I had to go to my son's practice or somewhere. So I recorded the last 3 quarters.
Okay.
I was shocked at the ending and the ending score.
It happens quick.
Yeah. So it's just like, what happened? And then we go and play Miami the next day and can't score 90 points. Like, back-to-back games, that team not scored 90 points.
Yeah. I was watching Miami live, similar. I had to go back, I had to do some more work. So I went away at halftime. I came back, and I was about to just pick up where I left off, but by accident, it showed the score live for me. I was like, what?
You couldn't believe
I'm like, what? What the hell happened?
Yeah.
What did everyone just like leave? I mean, like,
yeah. I actually showed
the second half.
That particular game. I paused it.
That was crazy.
We were up, so I paused it on the television, but I watched the half of it on my phone. So when I went back to watch it on the television, it was still, kind of where I was. And then, I just kind of did the same thing. I kind of fast forwarded, and all of a sudden we had the lead, and it was like halftime. And then when I fast forwarded, it kind of went past it a little bit.
Oh, where you wanted to go?
Losing? Yeah,
it's already out of control. So, forget about losing. It was like,
yeah,
you might.
It was like 40 point, almost a 40-point swing, man.
It's like, it's almost like you want to test people's manhood. You do that to them. You make them start or stop watching a game when you're winning by like 5, and then you're like, okay, a quarter later you're down by like 16. You want to watch it? Like, yeah, sure. Put it on. I want to see this get massacred. And
that's the thing about it. It's like sometimes you got to watch it because when you trying to learn like we are, and you're trying to learn the team, and you're trying to talk about the team, sometimes you have to watch.
You got to watch the good and bad.
That's what you got to watch, like how we gave it up, why we gave it up.
Yep.
That'll reveal a lot because sometimes it's not just X's and O's. Sometimes it's not just missed shots. And that's what I'm saying. I look at that, but I also look at body language. I look at other people's responses when guys miss shots or a turnover or, kind of guys' expressions it tells you a lot. I don't see the negative part of the team. Like I don't see guys waving guys off. I don't see that. Like I can't say that that's happening.
Yeah.
But I do see the lack of confidence in closing games, especially in the second half. And when things don't go well, kind of like collectively, like there we go again. And I guess 2-13 is that our record? 2-12, that'll do it.
2-12. Too many guys bought in to be doing that at this point. Be like, shrugging off, and it's too early to quit. Like that's when you start doing that. That's really quitting the season, in my opinion. You start doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's also
a risk of what's going on right now.
Well, I mean, some of that is let me say it this way. Some of that is having a lot of new guys because a team that has been together, you kind of know guys, so you're able to kind of engage a little more.
Yeah.
Where I think sometimes there may be some hesitation. I don't want to say there is. There may be some hesitation in approaching guys or guys saying something. I know a lot of guys on the team have experience, even though they don't have they have India experience, not necessarily experience with this team. But
that's why it's like a perfect storm of ugliness. We have
we got to have
in and out of players and
it's
bad.
like so like who's really like who's the voice of the team, because we said that Maxey
before or after Joel shows up.
No, I'm saying I just said we said it's been said that Maxey said something to Joel.
Yeah.
But Kyle Lowry is the one that called the meeting.
Yeah, that's right.
So is Maxey's part only the one because he said something to Joel? It's like who's taking the lead amongst the top guys on the team? That's what I'm saying. Like who's going to who are the minute guys that are saying something that everybody has to grab onto? Because
also, if Lowry didn't call the meeting, would Maxey have ever said that to him?
No, I Bleav that Maxey would have said it to him.
Eventually.
I don't know any of these guys personal like that to know what they're about. I'm a fan just like everybody else of the guys. So I don't know anything personal. So when I say this, I'm saying it from what I kind of think could happen, and in some cases what I think should happen. I don't think that anything that he said amongst the team that he shouldn't been able to say privately.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
I think he should have been able to say that. I do Bleav that the meeting being called, I don't think the meeting being called was specifically about Joel.
Yeah.
I think the meeting being called was like, hey, we getting our heads beat in.
Yeah.
And then you talk about, and that's when the one quote Joel had said was, we talked about a lot of stuff. And that my part was maybe, he said 40 seconds, whatever it was. But I think in particular, you talk about these things and you talk about all this stuff that's going on. And sometimes things are said or things stick, and you'll have portions of the team or everybody and one guy. Some guys may think this is important, and another guy may think, oh, that's not really a big deal to me. So when you're in those meetings, you have to be respectful to everything, and you have to be open to everything, because there are some things that, like I said, if Joel has been late, I can guarantee you there's guys on the team don't even really care about that. Don't think it impacts anything as long as he's ready to come and play and perform. They don't care.
Yeah.
And there's some guys that will feel like because he's the best player on the team, anything that he does is construed as negative, hurts the team.
Yeah.
So you have that thing that you balance and you talk about it. And where's the sacrifice coming in?
Do you think it's more alarming that Kyle is the one that called the meeting just because of his experience, what he's seen and been like, yo, I've seen this before. Let's get a meeting now or else it's going to get real bad soon.
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of, Kyle could have different reasons for calling it. I think he could just sense that things aren't right. He could sense that it's needed because of specific thing or things that are happening. Also, you got to understand that I've seen situations where a coach trusts a player and he kind of wants the team meeting and he kind of have the player kind of suggest it.
And that would make sense with Nurse and Lowry's relationship.
Yeah, so, it's a player suggested meeting, even though the coach is like, hey, man, we need to meet. Man, we got some things we need to discuss. I'm not saying that has happened, but I've had coaches tell me to do that. So I do know that does happen.
You might be onto something because usually when we first talked about this, I think you had asked, oh, Kyle called it so it was a players only meeting. It's fair to assume that, right? Because if a player does call a meeting, it usually is players. Do you think it was interesting that it was players and staff, and maybe that means a staff did ask him to do it on their behalf?
I thought it was different. I don't say weird. I just thought it was different for a player to call a meeting that includes the staff.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So
I believe that if I'm a player, if I made that call, I would have made it players only. Then if we needed to have a conversation with the staff, we would have had a separate one. Because I feel that having a meeting with players and then having a meeting with players and staff, some guys will say some things in a player-led meeting that they won't say in the player-staff-led meeting. I know that I know for a fact. That's not a maybe. I know for a fact that guys will not say certain things if the staff that are in there that they will say if it's players only.
Wow.
So to me, that I wouldn't have called a meeting just for everyone without having the players first. And they could have done that. That's why, but that's also why I asked if it was reported.
Yeah.
Who was in the meeting.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, yeah. Unless a coach came to you and they're like, hey, I feel like we all need to get together. Then you might be like, right.
But that's what I'm saying, that we all get together, then that's a coach call meeting. And all I'm saying is, a lot of times you get guys, especially guys that are younger, guys at the end of the bench, guys that don't play that much, guys on 1 year deal. Sometimes people don't want to rock the boat. So they won't say something what's in front of the staff.
That's a good point.
So that's why I would have called a players only meeting. And if a player, there's been times where a player that I know said something in the team meeting, and then we met with the staff afterwards, and that player wasn't comfortable saying that to the coaches. Guess what? I said it. So now I know that guy know I have his back. So I said it to him. And it came from me, not from him.
That's true.
Younger guy, he wasn't a young guy, but he was a guy on the 1 year deal. And he's like, man, I just can't. I'm not going to risk it.
He doesn't feel secure enough.
My livelihood over that.
Yeah, sure.
Even though he was firm on it. That's what I'm saying. Some guys will, some guys won't. Like when I came in the league, all them older guys that I played with, man, there was no hesitation with most of those guys.
Yeah.
But it's changed.
That was a vet locker room, right?
That's what I'm saying. But it's changed throughout the years. It was a vet league, so it's changed throughout the. Now it's different.
And our team is new. They're strangers to each other, most of these guys.
Yeah, so you don't really know that trust. That's another thing. You don't know that trust is really there because you don't really know the guys. So when people always think when you get to know players that like it's almost exclusively on the court and just playing. Like you got to get a trust off the court too.
Sure,
you got to get trust in the locker room and all that stuff.
So do you think it's a good sign that stuff did come out in a staff plus player meeting then?
I can't say it's a good sign. Maybe they can draw something good from it, but I can't say it's a good sign.
I was going to say it means there's more trust, but then again, something got leaked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can't say it's a good sign because a team that's not winning currently, I don't know how. If you don't kind of correct things, I don't know how building lack of trust can help you. Because the one thing you will need down the stretch, and that's as time goes on, is be able to trust each other.
Yeah.
Trust that someone's going to do their job. Trust that they're going to compete. Trust that they're going to help you if you need it. Like all of that comes into play. That's why people go out to eat dinner together. They do their things together so you can have open dialogue and start building relationships. So hopefully it does kind of serves a purpose to make the team stronger and they can move on from it. But they probably need some more conversations because of the fact that information got out.
Yeah.
I think the team needs more outings at Top Golf like they had this summer.
Yeah.
For sure. So you guys, we talked about the Embiid stuff in the beginning, and Eric's kind of alluded to some of the quotes, the post game quotes. So there's some stuff that hasn't really been discussed by media. And Stephen A. Smith had a nugget 2 days ago that I wanted to address on the show today. But Joel Embiid's quote after the game the other day, quote, "We talked about a lot of things. I don't want to get into detail, but that whole thing, that part of it took probably 40 seconds. But it's Joel Embiid, so things will always get blown out of proportion. It's whatever, though. I'll take it. I'm the reason for everything, so I guess I'll take the blame for everything. There was nothing malicious being said. I like when people are telling me when I'm not doing good and when I need to be better. That part of it, tardiness, probably happened once or twice when I wasn't playing, so I need to be better. I need to be perfect. I need to be on point, which I'm going to do." And then, obviously, when I mentioned Stephen A. Smith had another kind of comment about this whole situation, and I want to get your guys' input and just kind of thoughts on it. So, play it right here.
Knowing Philadelphia the way that I do, I'm talking to folks in Philadelphia all the time. I love Joel Embiid. You know that. You know how I feel about him as a talent. And as Sham just pointed out, he's perpetually injured. He came into the league missing his first 2 years, the whole first 2 years, because of injuries. I mean, everything in on a human anatomy, this guy is hurt. I mean, for crying out loud, even his face. All right, that's how bad it's been for him. But now you have people in Philadelphia telling me this. He's changed since he's got his bag. He basically, one person wrote to me, they said he's basically giving Sixers fans his ass to kiss. That's a quote from somebody connected to the organization. This is how people are feeling about him, right or wrong. That perception is very, very real. And when Marcus Hayes wrote what he wrote, while universally he was condemned for bringing up the deceased brother and his son, if you took that out and looked at everything else he was saying, everybody was feeling like everything else he said was relatively legitimate.
So apparently Joel Embiid has changed since he got his extension this summer. What Stephen A. Smith has been told by source in the Philadelphia organization. What do you guys make of that? Because I feel like that's just very, I don't know. I mean, the guy was already getting paid a lot, so I don't know how. I mean, I really don't get that.
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how. If you are the highest paid player on the team and you stay the highest paid player on the team, then you can change. I think that. I don't know. That's possible. Like I said, Steven is. I know Steven's not going to say most things if he wasn't told that. So someone there believes that. They told him. They believe that. I don't see why a guy that's already the highest paid player on the team would act different because he's still the highest paid player on the team. Like, And with his play, we knew he was going to get it. Like it wasn't a question. It wasn't a question like, is he going to get this contract? Like it was like whether he's going to sign it, not whether he was going to get it.
Yeah.
So, man, I Bleav I said before the part with Marcus Hayes when I was saying the personal stuff, when you took that out, like, did anybody complain about anything else that he said? Like, I remember asking that question. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's especially in Philadelphia or a lot of the Eastern teams, Boston, New York, and Philly, you'll get a little more dialogue and challenging from media or even fans and talk radio. Like there'll be a little more what people call drama or conflict. I just say that because of the passion that a lot of those cities have, you will get these things where they're not going to hold back because you're the best player on the team. Like they're going to challenge you too. But the one thing that does need to be said is we're 2-12, right? Want to make sure 2-12. I don't want to give us one more loss than we have. We are 2-12. Who are we supposed to blame? Like, is it not supposed to start with Maxey, Paul, and Joel? Is it not supposed to start with them? So, let's just make it a basketball thing then. Let's cut out all the other stuff, do what we supposed to do, lock in, and if we're not good enough to play on the court and we lose, then just make it just about that. But so it's going to be conflict, but a lot of times you can just start winning, and maybe things will change. Let's win some games and go from there. I mean, Joel happened to say what he said on his highest game of the season. So he scores his highest amount, and then he's like, okay, well, here's what I got to say about that. It kind of, the timing was kind of there. The game that he kind of said what he had to say, like, okay, y'all want to say stuff about me? Well, all right, let's go. I kind of took Joel's thing like, okay, well, it's all about me, and kind of, the woe is me thing he kind of said. I kind of took that as, okay, well, I'm going to do my part then. I'm going to do my part. And let's see if everybody else can too. That's how I took that. Which isn't necessarily a positive thing. Like it can be a positive thing, but it also could be, okay, y'all jokers want to talk about me. Let's see if y'all can step up to the plate as well.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I could see that if that story were about Maxey, I could see that being a thing because he went from rookie contract to max. Yeah. Max for Maxey. But Joel doesn't make any sense. What is this, his second big contract? Like it's just weird. Now, if I heard this story about Joel and it was more about his gold medal, that would make more sense to me than him getting paid yet again. Because then maybe he might be saying, I got my version of the ring with the gold medal. I'm good. Like I'll just coast my money and my MVPs and my gold medal. That would make more sense to me, not the money thing, though. The money thing is weird. But outside of the speculative reason of why he's acting this way, for me, the most alarming part is the acting this way part, right? Because Stephen A. Smith's people can speculate why they think he's changed, but that part's not true necessarily. But the timing of his changes is what the observation is, right? And it's since he did get paid, which is in the last 3 months. Why in the last 3 months has he changed so much? I don't know, but it is interesting that, and I've heard that Maxey's comments are based around this season, right? And that has been in the last 3 months too. So why has he changed in the last 3 months? I don't know. The change is alarming, not necessarily why, whether it's money or a gold medal, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the part. Like I know it's unknown whether it's been this season specifically or last season. Based on Joel's quotes, it was only a couple times, and it was when he wasn't playing. That's what he said. I've been told that it was worse than what Maxey said.
As far as tardiness,
Yes. Indirectly, not directly. Indirectly, I've been told that it was worse than what Maxey said.
yeah, because you got to figure Maxey just generally looks like a nice guy. He would probably downplay whatever his criticism is, right?
So, and then Joel says it was only a couple times.
And he downplayed it even more. So he watered it down, and he watered it down. He just kept pouring water in it.
So,
It was basically
we know that it's some, that's two ends of the spectrum. So we know someone's not being as accurate. I just said if Joel was habitually late, like it was being reported, I was just saying I don't see that as a trend that just started. If he was that late, like all the time, usually the guys that are late like that all the time, that's kind of who they are. But if you're saying that it just started now and he's that late, now I can see how people would say, well, he got his bag and he's just saying, I'm going to do what I want to do. So it's easy to think that because then that means that shows like a change of behavior. And that change of behavior, most time people point at
money.
Your salary. I was told that, like when I signed with Philly, like Coach Brown them called me in and it's like, dude, you acting different. Now I didn't feel that way, but there was a part of me was like, man, I ain't trying to hear that. Now that's real facts. You will act a little. You do. I did act a little different. Like before I had my contract and after I had my contract, there was some things like I wasn't really trying to hear. I'm not really trying to hear what y'all talking about. That is acting different. And Coach Brown's like, that's not you, so kind of be who you are. Sometimes you need to be told that. And I didn't notice it until I was told that that's what I was doing. And I was even told by somebody, in addition to that wasn't even the coach, but it's been around the Sixers forever. He called me out like that. And I know he had no agenda but to kind of tell me the truth. So you're like, oh, I'm like, well, he telling me that. Like, he ain't going to just, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, dude, you act a little different, man. So, but what that is, that's people that care about you too. Like, so I knew how they felt about me before they told me that. So kind of had to look in the mirror a little bit. So I know that salary and things can change people sometimes. Because I was there. So I do believe if this behavior is different somehow right now for Joel this season, I can see how some people can say, yeah, specifically about the contract. That makes sense if the behavior is just this season.
You're coming in bare chesting it, huh, Eric?
I guess, yeah. Got my contract. They was like, man, we're going to tone you down. And coach came and coach benched me for in practice or something. Put me on the second team. Told me I was acting different.
He nipped into the bud real quick, didn't he? Yeah.
I got benched before the season even started.
Yeah, he was like,
I got benched in practice. Yeah, I got benched in practice. Like,
I'm not letting. He's like, I'm not letting it make its way to a game.
Yeah, we ain't gonna. This not gonna linger to the season. We're gonna handle this right now.
Yeah,
came in there. Yeah.
And it's not. I mean, we have heard stories like this before, so it's definitely not new. There's been multiple re-releasing of old stories from books and articles from like Brett Brown's days, where he yelled at the rehab staff saying, "Joel's out of shape. He's going to get all of us fired." Or the team meeting they had to have many years ago about all the staff complaining about Joel just perpetually not being prepared. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff resurfacing that people have forgotten because, Joel's been averaging 33 or 35 for the last 5 years. So people are like, he's obviously doing something right. But now that it's not looking good, it's like, well, you get a lot of I told you so.
But that's what I'm saying, and that's what I told you guys before. If you paid attention to what I'm saying, that he's been different since February. And that leads me to kind of think that this may be like a lingering thing, because I do know when things start going south, more things start being said.
Yep.
Yeah, and also other stuff came out this week that apparently Embiid was upset that we went for Paul George and we didn't go for Jimmy Butler this offseason, which just kind of contradicts him going on NBA Countdown to try to recruit Paul George. So there's a lot of stuff being leaked, and it's like this reported. It's just so stupid because, I mean, we saw with our own eyes that Embiid went on that set to get Paul George.
Well, I mean, that both can still be true. I mean, he went and got Paul George because they said they wasn't going to go get Jimmy. So he still could have wanted Jimmy first.
That's true. That could be true, yeah. Embiid, who yesterday was not on the injury report, today he was at shoot-around, but he was watching. He was not participating, and he's questionable for tonight. So the Sixers went from being a 6-point favorite to now a 4.5-point favorite against the Brooklyn Nets at home. Who do you guys have in this game?
I feel comfortable. I feel more comfortable to say that I have us in the 4.5 than the 6.5. So I feel more comfortable with that. So glad they lowered it. So I'm going with us. We need it. I'm tired of losing.
And that's with or without Embiid, Eric?
Yes, with or without Joel, we'll win it. Yeah, we need it. I mean. Didn't we win our games without Joel?
Yeah, but both of them, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go.
And Ben Simmons has returned to Philadelphia as well.
Ooh.
So, Embiid's got to play for this one.
Man, and he has no problem playing in this one. He's like, they have so much drama over there. They don't give a damn about me anymore, man. I'm a distant memory compared to what's going on there now.
No, the fans aren't going to. No, that's not the case in Philly. No, they're not going to forget that.
I think we win. I think we go on a nice little streak here in general. Not just streak, but just win our next 10 games. I think we win the majority of them. I think we're going to start to pull together some wins and look closer to what we are. I know it would have been nice to come away with a win in Memphis, but we started to see more glimpses in the game for a longer period of time of what we're supposed to look like. I just wish it was with George too, but hopefully his maxi minutes come up a little bit and they get more of a rhythm with closer to what our team was last year. But yeah, I think we win. I think we cover.
Nice.
Yeah, Nick Nurse got some crap online from Sixers fans because obviously first game having all three of those guys back, we went to minutes without either one of them on the floor, and he got, I think rightfully, kind of got called out online. I think when you have those three, one of those guys should be playing at all times. That was kind of the big sentiment online. What do you guys make of that? Obviously, we won't have Paul George for a couple games, but
I would have thought that. I mean, I don't know if minute restrictions came in with Maxey in his first game back. Like, I don't know, but even with that, that's very understandable. Displeasure. I would probably second that would have been my expectation that one of those guys would have been on the court.
And Jared McCain has continued to dominate, so that's one bright spot in these 14 games so far this season.
Yeah,
and him and Embiid look great together too. That's also another storyline.
But Paul George called him the most consistent player on our team. A rookie.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good, but it's good for him.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, coming from Duke, coming from a winning culture, he's picking everybody's head up when everyone's looking down.
Man, he played one. Come on, man. He played 1 year at Duke.
Just making a joke there.
I mean, 1 year it's like a standard now. 1 year.
We don't have to give Duke credit on here.
No, we're not Duke fans here.
All right.
All right, so final game prediction Sunday. We will be hosting the Clippers, and unfortunately, Paul George won't be in that game. But Sunday we'll be hosting the Clippers, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Who do you guys have in that one?
Clippers, very beatable team, but a team that has played extremely well. I know last night Norman Powell didn't play. Not sure how long he's out. So if he's out and he don't make the trip, that would definitely help us. But I say we win. I mean, I think they do play hard. I mean, we're going to have to play hard. We're going to have to compete. But I think we pull it out, a victory at home.
I think we win 2 in a row. I think, like I said, I think our next few games, we got some winnable games coming up before we get to Cleveland and then Boston 2 games after that. We can win the majority of these next 10 games, I think. And I think it puts pressure on us now more than ever to have to beat the teams that are winnable games because we've already lost a bunch of them. So we got some ground to make up. I think we get a little revenge on LA. I know George probably would love to play in that game, but it's unfortunate. But I think very beatable. I think we can beat them. Yeah. I think we win. No spread yet, obviously, right?
No.
Nah, I didn't think so.
I gotta say, the script writers have this pretty good. I mean, for all the drama that we're going on right now, we go Ben Simmons rematch, and then we got the James Harden game in the same weekend. I mean, script writers knew what they were doing.
And then Detroit in 3 games, the Tobias Harris rematch.
Wow. Yeah. There you go.
Also, general note for us in general, just overall, do you think, I mean, it's the NBA, and you're supposed to respect your opponent, obviously, but do you think we're almost playing so bad to the point where people think that it's way more winnable than it was when the season started, right? Like we're not world beaters right now. People
I would say teams are saying, we know what this team is capable of.
Okay.
Let's not let them get started on us today.
Okay. Yeah.
They're lacking confidence. Let's jump on them. If you jump on them, they kind of almost tap out. So that's kind of the stigma, I would think, that people are like, man, they're already down. Let's keep them down because we know they're capable what they're capable of doing. So the teams are kind of understanding the moment of where they are.
It's not even early. Just go on a run against us and we'll lose. Yeah. At any point of the game, go on a run and you'll win.
Yeah, there you go.
It's terrible.
Brutal. But all right, guys. Well, we hope everybody enjoyed the episodes. Like we said, make sure you guys, tap into our comments, give us a question on there. If you guys want us to talk about anything specific on our Tuesday or Friday show, we will go ahead and do that. But guys, hope everybody enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday, coming off hopefully a 2-game win streak.
All right, sound good. Take it easy, guys.
Have a good weekend, guys.
You too.